We've been talking about entrepreneurism and multiple streams of revenue, and we're going to try to bring it all together on this show. Stay tuned.
From Philadelphia, the home of the Liberty Bell, Financial Freedom Radio starts now. Here's your host, Raymond Jewell.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to financialfreedomradio.com. I want to thank you all for coming and downloading, listening to the show. We hope you find this interesting. And if you do, please subscribe and share and also ring the bell, because that is when we will notify you when new shows are being posted. So we want to make sure that you subscribe and share it with your friends because, you know, referrals are great. And they say that the referrals are the ultimate compliment. So if you like what you hear, please share it with your friends and let them hear it. Financialfreedomradio.com, or they can go to youtube.com/financialfreedomradio. So I want to talk this morning with our wonderful producer Steve. How are you, Steve?
Good morning, afternoon, evening, Dr. Ray, wherever you're at when you're watching this.
Yeah, wherever you are in the world, right?
That's right. It's the best place to be.
We are a global
phenomenon.
I don't know if it's a phenomenon or not. You know, if you saw or witnessed the trouble we have sometimes setting this broadcast up, you think that we've got two tin cans strung together.
It's a miracle this show gets pulled off on a weekly basis.
I'm telling you. And we've got some pretty high-tech stuff.
Well, we think we do. Sometimes we think we're a little bit better than we are, but I love your coffee mug there, Dr. Ray.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dr. Ray,
Go ahead.
This is from a friend of mine. Oh, it's from you, Steve.
Oh, is it from me? How convenient.
Yeah. It's the Trumpster.
It's the Trump, soon to be in second term.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Don't be putting up that banner now with the political alert. Here we go. I can't hear it, so that's good.
That's good. It doesn't make you angry that way.
Right. So, Steve, we're going to talk about entrepreneurism. I know that's a topic that's close to your heart, and I'd like to have you chime in whenever you feel like doing it. But one of the things that's important, and it's important to stress for everyone listening to this call, is you want to get control of your own financial life. We call this Financial Freedom Radio. And it's not just about looking at numbers and strategies on money and all that kind of stuff. It's how do you achieve your financial freedom? And so many times we have external factors that out of our control that keep impacting our financial freedom, like taxes, inflation, lost opportunity cost. I mean, you've heard me go over these over and over again. Also, you have income coming in from your employer. Now, depending on who gets in office, and we're hoping our guy does, and you really should hope so too, because that could give you a consistent growth in your income. But if not, you'll see employers starting to lay off people, and you'll see markets starting to go down. I got a report here from Crestcat.net, and you can read it. Macro model. Maybe you could see it on the screen here, but they talk about markets going down, and this outfit is losing ground because of markets that are dropping down. It's all based on the money that we're spending to to finance all this stuff. We can't keep spending all this money. We just are starting to spend more than we could possibly recover. And one of our, France went through this years ago, and Austria went through it years ago, where they had to devalue all their money and start from scratch. And people would roll up wheelbarrows full of francs, old francs, to get new francs. And you don't want to have to redeem your old money to get new money, because it's going to take a lot of wealth. It's going to take a lot of wealth away from you. So one of the things that we want to understand fully is how to build wealth, and we're doing it through the entrepreneur system. And wealth is being created in massive amounts in this downturn. So I got this article here that I got off of. I think it's on, shoot, where is it? Entrepreneur Magazine. Anyway, it talks about entrepreneurs are popping up all over the place. So let me just read you a few of these excerpts. Officials in many areas impose new pandemic lockdowns and restrictions going into the holiday season, things can seem bleak. Depression rates are up. People are fleeing cities in droves. Elected leaders regularly violate their own orders. And fraud is rampant in the government's COVID-19 stimulus programs. That's what I'm talking about. It's a stimulus programs. They can't keep doing this, because the deeper they go in debt, the more it's going to impact your investments and your jobs. It's understandable to feel frustrated and despair, but more Americans are pushing past the grimness to create and invent during this challenging time. Entrepreneurism continues to soar during the pandemic as displaced dreamers and imaginative doers spot new opportunities and build new businesses at a record pace. It may be one of the few 2020 bright spots. This week, the Wall Street Journal reports that entrepreneurship during the pandemic is accelerating. Several metric points to this growth, including the number of people applying for tax identification numbers. That's a number that you need when you create a corporation, whether it's an LLC, whether it's a C Corp, an S Corp. Whatever you are creating, you need a tax ID number, and that's what they measure. More people are applying for tax ID numbers than before. They're going off the charts, so it's showing that people are starting new businesses. The journal cites U.S. Census Bureau data revealing that applications by small businesses rose nearly 1/3 between January and December, compared to the previous year. In particular, applications skyrocketed between July and September, rising 77% from the previous quarter, the biggest quarterly increase in 16 years of tracking this data. So you guys are out there starting new businesses at record rates, and you're finding ways to be creative. You're starting new businesses, whether it's a multi-level marketing business or whether you're doing what Steve does. You're using arbitrage to buy low and sell high on Amazon or eBay. It's amazing. And for small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. When you have people starting up small businesses at a record rate, that means the economy is ready to take off. But if there's a change in leadership in this country, it won't, because that's not the Democrats' MO. Their MO is to tax and spend. Instead of lowering taxes so you can spend, they tax and spend. They raise your taxes so they can spend. Which would you much rather have it? For them to spend at on your dime, or for you to spend on your dime? You choose.
You know, can I just jump in here for a second, Ray?
You can. Yes, sir.
I'm going to hit the politics button on myself for a second here, because one of the things that I have noticed, and tell me if I'm seeing it right,
is it seems to me that there seems to be one set of people who want, one of the reasons that businesses are starting to take off is that people are wanting to be in control of their own fate. They want to be in control of their own destiny. They saw the layoffs from the first time, so they're trying to get ahead of things. But, it seems to me like there's also there's almost an opposite, equal but opposite force saying we don't want you. We want to be in control of where your money comes from, not you being in control of where you know what I mean? It almost
Yep.
feels like they don't want small businesses to succeed because if they succeed, it seems to be, then they lose control over what's going on. And I don't want to get political, but I mean, that's almost the way it feels like. It's like they're not interested in helping small businesses succeed because it gets in the way of what they're trying to accomplish.
I think you have to get political nowadays. Even when we're talking about financial freedom, you got to get political
I mean,
because
at the end of the day,
they
people
all
want.
dovetail together.
I think what you're seeing is I think you're seeing people who want to be in control of their finances, who want a better station in life, and are trying to do whatever they can to get there. And then you have another group of people who are like, no, we know what's best. You see it in the lockdowns. There's one group of people who are like, I just want to go out and live my life because I know how I want to live. And then there's another group that says, no, we know what's best. You need to do what we say. And it almost feels like you see that in the business world too.
Yes. See, one of the things that we're seeing a shift of parties. And we're seeing the Republican Party morph from being a right-wing, rabid party to being a party for the people, a big tent. No matter who you are, no matter what color, race, creed, nationality, if you're wanting to get ahead, the Republican Party is wanting to help you. And all the strategies and principles that they are initiating come from both sides. So the Republican Party now is being the party of taking care of the individual, looking out for all Americans, taking care of the individuals so that they can take care of themselves.
But the Republicans are not saints. Let's just call it what it is.
I get that, but the opposition is making sure you pay them so that they can take care of themselves at your expense, and that is continuing to become the MO of their party. And with all this liberal thinking, I mean, when you move towards socialism, you're moving toward redistribution of wealth. And that is a fact. When you redistribute wealth, then what they're doing is they're taking people's money and spreading it around to other people. And that's what you're going to see. You're seeing that trend moving to the left more and more, where the Republican trend is lowering taxes, giving you your money and letting you spend it, and you control it yourself.
That's more of a libertarian thing anyway.
Well, I think there's a fine line between them all in the Republican Party right now. And the Republican Party has even hijacked some Democratic principles, some Democrat principles that of the middle of the road Democrats years ago. So when you look at finance and you look at the people, the Republican Party has lifted up the middle class. And when you lift up the middle class, the poor class gets lifted too.
Right.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Ships. Yep.
All ships. So when you lift the middle class, you're going to lift the group below them up. And so the Democrats are out campaigning for under the guise of taking care of the middle class, but all the things they're talking about lead to the suppression of the middle class and lifting up the poor class. We can't do that. because you can't sidestep a whole group of people and just focus on one, because you're going to do it at the expense of a larger group of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the metaphor that I heard, and I'm not sure where I heard it from, but the one I heard that really kind of stuck in my head was the difference between equal opportunity and equal outcome. I think there's a certain group that are pushing for equal outcome, and then there's the more traditional equal opportunity. Everyone has the same opportunity for success. It's just some people will choose to pursue it and some won't. And then there's another group of people that says, well, they're not allowed the same opportunity, so we're going to hand them the same outcome. One thing I learned from playing Forex a long time ago is that a lot of this is a zero-sum game. Money isn't just magically created. There's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. And if you take away from small business to give to people, you have people out there busting their hump trying to make a living, and then you take the money from them and give it to people who are not out there busting a hump and working for a living. It's a zero-sum game. You're going to take from one and give to the other. You're not going to magically create trillions of dollars out of thin air and expect it to be worth anything.
Right. Well, when you have a business and you're creating wealth, there's not a finite amount of wealth. There's an unlimited amount of wealth. And
well, the difference between wealth and money.
Well, there's a finite amount of money, but of course the government doesn't think so. They think they can print money like crazy.
Yeah.
So let me just go down a little further with this, because what you're talking about will dovetail into this. Many of the individuals currently leaping into entrepreneurship are workers whose businesses were shut down by government edict and who experienced associated layoffs or pay cuts. So they're bouncing back, and they're bouncing back at a rapid rate. According to this week's journal article, to adapt to the pandemic and the job loss it unleashed, more Americans are becoming their own boss, setting up tiny businesses to work as traveling hairstylists, in-home personal trainers, boutique mask designers, and chefs. A man in Maryland started a mobile car washing business. It's just they're coming up with creative ways of making money. No longer do they want to be at the mercy of the government. So it's an interesting trend when you see that people are creating their own businesses so they can have control over themselves. They're saying indirectly, we don't want you to control us. And so they are rejecting government or employers, for that fact, interfering with their business. They want to do it themselves. So it's an interesting article, and it goes on. You can find it if you look for, oh gosh, I think it was, I can't, wouldn't you know? FEE.org. You can find this article.
FrankEchoEcho.org. I'll go look for it.
So I want to thank you all for coming. I hope this gives you a little bit of information. And I want to share with you that I know we're coming into Thanksgiving, and
yes,
it's really going to be hard because there's a lot of people that are saying, keep wearing your mask and to not associate with family or friends, and wear your mask and then take it off as you take one bite at a time. I mean, there's crazy things all over the place. But the fact that we're still a people and we are still in the United States of America, as crazy as 2020 has become, we still give thanks and appreciation for the fact that we are still able to give thanks and appreciation.
As of today, we're still a free country.
That's right. So I hope this information was valuable to you, and we're going to continue with some really great topics after Thanksgiving on financial freedom. And there's many things that we can share with you that will help you achieve your financial freedom.
Yep.
And one of the things is to focus on you and build what you can and be as efficient as you can be with your money and with all the resources that you have. And we'll explain that to you. We'll talk about it in future shows. Do you have anything you want to share, Steve?
I just listen. At the end of the day, I'm going to hit the politics button on me because
Again?
well, no, because I'm going to go out and I'm going to say something that may be inappropriate or may not be popular, but you kind of touched on it a little bit. This is Thanksgiving. This is the day where families come together. You're probably seeing this the day after Thanksgiving, so you're probably in a turkey coma right about now. But I know that there's a lot of people in this country who say, don't get together with your family, don't get together with your friend. You limit your. Here's Steve's rant. Okay, tomorrow is not guaranteed, and I'm very thankful for all the time I've got to spend with Uncle Ray. And well, no, seriously,
That's me.
Tomorrow is not a guarantee, and you can either live your life in fear, or you can live your life on your terms and go out on your terms. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but if you have elderly family, this could be the last Thanksgiving you get to spend with them. And I don't think they would enjoy going out without seeing. Why you got that look?
You saying you calling me elderly?
I'm not calling you elderly. No. You fall into that wonderful category that my mother falls into, which is heaven doesn't want you and hell's afraid you'll take over. So you're going to live forever.
Yeah.
But
Amen,
the point
brother.
the point is, you gotta life. Every day you step out of your house is a day about taking risk. So you just have to measure the risk appropriately. And I don't want anyone to get in trouble. I don't want anyone, but you got to do the right thing with what's right in your heart and what's right in your mind. So I'm very blessed that I've had all this time with Ray. I'm very blessed that we've been doing this for coming up on a year now. There have been times where I've had to fight with him to actually get the show out on a weekly basis, but we've gotten it out every single week for the entire crazy year of 2020. And just be thankful. Spend the time. Yeah, spend the time with your loved ones. If you can't, if you're not willing to do it physically, do it virtually. But just, this is a time to be thankful for what you've got.
Also, I want to share with the folks that, when you listen to this show, we're not going to give you magic pearls of wisdom. If you're coming to the show for pearls of wisdom, it's not going to happen. But all we're going to do is just give you some entertaining babble and point you in the right direction as to financial freedom. And our net is pretty big. Sometimes we'll narrow it down to talk about financial strategies, but we need to touch on other things that impact your financial future.
Right.
And entrepreneur, we spent the last 3 or 4 weeks talking about multiple 4 weeks talking about multiple streams of revenue, and now we're finding out that entrepreneurism is on a rise. So we were kind of ahead of that trend a little bit because we were taking time to talk about it. So if you're coming to this show for magic pearls of wisdom, it's not going to happen.
Well, you've given magic. What you mean to say is you're not going to get step-by-step instructions. You've given tons of pearls of wisdom. And if I could just summarize this entire year, you've encapsulated into one very simple concept. Financial freedom is not about money. It's about mindset.
Right.
80% of financial freedom comes from having your head screwed on straight. The rest of it comes with time.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right.
You've given pearls of wisdom, but you're very particular about giving specific, concrete steps of advice. And I understand that. But if anyone listens to every episode, there's no reason people could not be on a path to financial freedom by now.
Wow. Great. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming and downloading. Yep. have a happy Thanksgiving or you have had a happy Thanksgiving.
Right.
Take care. We'll see you back here next week with financialfreedomradio.com. Tell a friend.
See you guys.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. If you want to learn how to create real sustainable wealth like the extremely rich people do, or maybe you just want to sustain the wealth you already have, you need to check out Dr. Ray's new book, Why the Rich Are Rich. Ray's been coaching clients for 35 years and has completely unlocked the secret strategies that rich people use day in and day out to grow and sustain their wealth, regardless of what's going on in the economy. His book is completely free, and you can get it by going to whythericharerich.com and entering your email address. Again, that's whythericharerich.com. Head over there now.